So Jesus was, the body of Mary was used as an incubator. Because the Bible says, a body has that prepared me. That's what Jesus said. That was a prophecy by Christ. God prepared him a body. How did he come? Through the word. So he had no link. His blood had no connection with human blood. So he was born sinless. Now, because he was born sinless, the judgment that was hanging on all that have sinned was not on him. Did you see that now? Did you see that now? Because every one of us have sinned and come short of the glory of God. But he never sinned. He was sinless. So there was no judgment of sin on him. Is that clear? So because sin happened and then death came. If there was no sin, there would have no death. So Jesus, because he was sinless, no death was hanging on him. In fact, in John chapter 10, Jesus himself said, he says, no man can take my life from me. He said, I have power to lay it down. I have power to take it up again. He said, this commandment have I received from my Father. Why? Because the law says, the soul that sinneth, he shall die. So he has not sinned. He has no sin. So there was no death on him. So if he had come into this world, and without this mission of dying for our sins, he could have just finished his life and go back to heaven. Because there was no death hanging on him. Is that correct? In fact, before they crucified Jesus on the cross, that wasn't the first time they tried to kill him. There was a time they arrested Jesus, took him to the pinnacle of the mountain to pull him down from there. From nowhere, he just left their sin. They couldn't kill him because death couldn't work around him. Why? There was no sin in his life. So what did he do? To transfer that life to us, there must be an exchange. That's why the cross came about. That's why this season we're talking about the power of the cross. What happened in the cross is what defines civilization today. What happened on the cross is what makes it possible for any man to have the life of God in him. So what did Jesus do? In Hebrews chapter 2 in verse 9. Hebrews chapter 2 in verse 9. It says, but we see Jesus. Please, media. Hebrews chapter 2 in verse 9. Hebrews chapter 2 in verse 9. It says, but we see Jesus, who was made a little lower than the angels for the suffering of what? For the suffering of what? Crowned with glory and honor. That he, by the grace of God, should do what? Taste death for how many people? Does that include you? He became a man so that he can come and taste the death that is hanging on. You were owing debt. Because the soul that sinned, it shall, for all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. So death was hanging on humanity. And no man could pay for it. Nobody. So because of the way he came in, he had no sin, no debt hanging on him. He was not owing debt. Is that correct? But we all were owing debt. So Bible says he became man so that he can taste death for you. Death to taste it for you. Are you getting it now? He said that he, by the grace of God, should taste death for how many men? All men. The same Hebrews chapter 2, please. Let's go to verse 14. Go to verse 14, please. Hebrews chapter 2, verse 14. Verse 14 says, for as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had the power of death. That is who? That is who? You see, devil is the enemy of the soul of man. Remember the fall of Adam happened because Satan tempted the woman. Is that correct? Bible says she was deceived. And then she influenced the husband. So that was what brought about the disobedience, that brought about death. So he's an enemy of man. So Jesus needed to disarm him. Because when Adam sinned, Adam lost his authority. Satan began to wield the authority of death and of hell. So Jesus needed to retrieve it out from his hand to liberate man from the enclave of the fear of death. Is that correct? So he says he had to do this so that he can have access to his throne, to his authority, to his domain, to deprive him of the power he had over death, so that he might destroy him that had the power of death. That is who? The devil. Go to the next verse, verse 15. Verse 15 says, and deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage. And this is the problem of man today.